The Tom Hanks slander will not be tolerated. I'm just going to say that off.
Is Tom Hanks your favorite actor of all time?
I mean, he might be. He might be.
No.
Look, I didn't look. All I said was he doesn't make bad movies. I didn't say they all made $10 million. In the first 10 seconds.
All I'm gonna say is
they were out.
If you are an actress, and your job is to be like, I mean, how many movies you want to do in your lifetime? Man, if I do 40, 50, he's done 93 and counting.
Yeah.
Like, so even if he
and they're
did,
all good.
Yeah, well, think about this. I mean, yeah, it's like Tom Hanks. At a certain point, he goes, "Look, man. Number one, I'm an A-lister. Number two, I made you root for a volleyball. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need nothing else.
No.
You know, like
we said this as far as like guys that usually don't miss, right? Because I told you I just went and watched Top Gun last night. Excellent movie. Tom Cruise, action movie. Usually it hits. Now he did have The Last Samurai, so I don't think he hits on quite the same percentage as Tom Hanks. And then I said, I think Denzel's another one that usually has a very high, big hit rate.
The success rate is
and
very
there
high.
was a few where you were like, but mostly.
I mean, the Bone Collector, Deja Vu, you're going to be like, you're going to have, I think what happens is, Kevin, don't you got to show some human side? Like, it's like this. I mean, Tom Brady win every Super Bowl. He been to 10,
yeah,
but he only won, if you want, only won 7.
Yes.
Like, the thing about Tom Hanks is, you make me realize that, dude, as far as like bangers, think about this. He don't have to do comedy movie. He don't have to make you laugh. You don't got to do that.
No, the dude has like a bunch of great movies where he's not like, it's a cartoon. Yep. Toy Story. Yep. He did like 6 characters in the Polar Express.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, if you talk,
we'll move on. But I'm just
hold
saying.
on. If you're talking about being an actor, right? What kind of actor do you want to be? Do you want to have 12-pack abs because you got to show off your body most of the movie? Or do you want to be like Tom Hanks and go, look, man, my movies has actually gotten better as I gotten older. Like, there are certain people, you say to yourself, do Tom Hanks make bad movies? And the answer is no. Like, in 86, right? I was 4. So what happens is, right? If I got to go back to the 80s and show, like Kevin, if you were a musician and somebody goes, your first album, yeah, I'm 20 albums in. Like, my first and 2, I'm trying to figure out how to really make good. So I would say Tom Hanks, I apologize, because if I've never seen the movie, heard of the movie, I don't even count it. Because I wasn't a Big, I thought was the first movie Tom Hanks ever did. And it wasn't, but it was beautifully done.
It was good. Joe versus the Volcano, for what it is.
Joe versus the Volcano.
It's a good
movie.
Thank you.
It is a good movie.
Christian and PJ were like, come on. I'm like,
no,
look,
it is.
For what it is, it wasn't meant to be one of those epics like Forrest Gump. It's a good movie. Money Pit, good movie.
Yep.
Turner and Hooch, good movie.
Turner and Hooch is a beautiful movie.
The dude has got range. And again, we were like way deep. You didn't even come up with Sleepless in Seattle. And you got mail. People were just like, oh, those are like, that's like not even top 20.
Sleepless in Seattle is beautiful.
That's all I'm saying.
The thing about Tom Hanks is right.
People forget you got mail. Tom Hanks has Dave Chappelle as his like best buddy.
Yeah,
I forgot about it. Like I was like, Dave Chappelle is
put some respect on Tom Hanks, because the thing about it is right. Tom Hanks was never. I mean, he was never the sex symbol guy, right? He wasn't the one.
No.
He wasn't George Clooney. But this thing, he didn't have to be. He's like this. All right, what is my lane?
My lane
is being a good actor, having range. And I go from that to Forrest Gump, Castaway, Philip. He finally did a movie with Denzel. Denzel he's this freaking lawyer in Philadelphia. Please, listen, and not I'm just saying.
Crossover success.
At the end of the day, he's tackling issues with Philadelphia. He's making you laugh. I mean, in Toy Story. I mean, he's Captain Philip. Man. Tom Hanks. I apologize to Tom Hanks, because sometimes
Tom Hanks on the show
when you dive into people's resume. Now I will say his son be trying to tear down his legacy every time he's on freaking social media. I'm just saying, it won't be tripping. But I'm just saying, man. I mean, love his son. I'm just saying. But I just think that Kevin,
he's got to grow into the role.
I'm gonna tell you what Kevin comes to work. Kevin says, "I'm gonna bring up some Tom Hanks stuff, and if it's any slander, we're gonna address it for the world to hear." But shout out to Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks put a lot of pressure on himself to be able to say, look, man, name him. DiCaprio, yep, did it. Denzel, did it. Will Smith, sorry, he just Will Smith wanted to do some old, some old dumb movie called like
After
After
Earth.
Earth.
I don't know. I think Leo's got some weird ones like The Beach. That's weird. Like, I don't know if that's
First movie I ever seen Leonardo DiCaprio in was What's Eating Gilbert Grape, him and Johnny Depp. I'm just saying, look, we don't, at the end of the day, his bank account would prove otherwise. The guy has did it. And he listen, and Kevin, and never had to listen, for all the people that think that you got to be all ripped up to be a superhero, one of the first Batmans was Michael Keaton. Just remember that. No, seriously, just remember, we go from Christian Bale.
No, Michael Keaton was like the first. Like,
He was
Adam West
with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight. Listen, love Michael Keaton, but they had abs built into the suit. Okay, people, it ain't for everybody. You go from that to the other guy.
I wonder if I could have abs built into a suit for me. It's like,
hey, man, Spotlight
Spotlight
was a beautiful movie, by the way, with Michael Keaton. Just saying. What? Listen,
welcome to Ben and Kevin's movie reviews. No, look.
No Tom Hanks slander will be tolerated.
Yeah, not on 3 and Out. I'm telling you. Tom, call the show. Love you. All right. Speaking of raking in all the money.
Yes.
We'll talk with Rich Styles, Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Everybody talking about Phil, Dustin Johnson going to the LIV tour or the Live tour. I don't know. I've heard it called 6 different things. They're going to get huge money. Does PGA Tour have a problem on their hands? Where basically, again, this is what we'll get into this. Then we're take the rundown, crumble it up, and throw it away because
no, hold on. I'm looking at the rundown.
And we were going to talk about Matt Olson playing the A's.
No. I'm looking at the rundown. I see Ben watches weird videos of orangutan got graphic. Listen, I will say this.
Sorry, we're going.
We are all over the place. I will say this. Me and our own Christian Gokel I like the fact that my weirdness is shared. I be all over social media because I'm finding videos that I like to call "You Deserve Whatever You Get." You are that close to an orangutan. Oh,
and that
look.
Joker grabbed him.
Listen, and the orangutan grab him, and then some kind of way he ends up sideways. Whatever happened to that dude? Number one, if they tell you not to feed the animals, that means stay away from them. Man, his arm too big to fit through this kid. Got you.
He did.
And what is his friend doing? You're not even helping me, bruh. Pull me away from the thing. You better be lucky they ain't got some sharp teeth.
Yeah, we'll talk about that coming up on the show. We'll talk with Rich Styles about all that golf has going on for it. Also, Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst for UGAsports.com. Arch was at the Arches this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll ask him if he feels like if George is the front runner to get Arch to come to Athens. And a number of other 5-stars, how recruiting has changed since Georgia won the national championship, if it has at all. And I think, Ben, and I know we've got a troop talk set up tomorrow where you're talking with a guy that's doing kind of like an NIL summit, so to speak. But, I'd be interested to get his thoughts on, it's not supposed to be intertwined, but is there a relationship that's just inevitable with top flight recruits and NIL?
Yep.
We'll talk to him about that coming up in hour number 2. Tom Hanks, no slander, will be tolerated on the show.
What made you come? What made you decide? Like we all have our fans of certain like there are certain things like as my granddad would say, you never know. Like the whole never know. So when it comes to Tom Hanks, you go, look, people don't appreciate him.
No, I'm not saying they don't appreciate him. I'm just saying, like, name, and that's what I was saying, like, name a bad movie that you can't sit down and watch. The Terminal might be considered down like as a
it's not
down on the list.
The Terminal is excellent,
but it's a good movie. But I'm saying most people put that down the list of Tom Hanks movies. That's still very good. I mean, every 5 minutes I think of another one.
I mean, think about that, though.
Apollo 13.
Come on.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. Look,
basically, no.
I got to get off of the Tom Hanks talk here because this will turn into Tom Hanks and out on the show. What?
Listen, at the end of the day, no. This
he ought to just make a movie called I'm Tom Hanks.
Somewhere, my father appreciates what me and Kevin are doing. Those of you who don't know is this. We can call this show Don't Turn It to Your Dad, right? Because people always say, hey, man, what are you really doing as you get older? Well, you want to raise your kids. You want to be in the best health you can. You
got
want
my
to
white New Balance on.
But yeah. But what you're really doing is, if you want to know how your life is going to be, go to your dad's house and just look at him. Don't say nothing to him. So my future is,
sticking Reese's in the freezer. And
listen. No. My future is getting out of bed with my Bill Cosby pajamas on, tucking my shirt in, tucking my wife beater in. This is what I don't get. The temperature doesn't change at night. Why do older gentlemen, seasoned gentlemen, get out? They got to put the robe on, and it still has a little tie to go to the refrigerator. Now, this is the thing. If you go into the refrigerator and I'm sitting down watching TV, did I ask you anything? I didn't. So when you go, what'd you say, son? I ain't say nothing. You sure? Yeah. Was I talking for you walked in here? No. Go get your stuff out the refrigerator and stop. Listen. And before you go in there and say, who took this? That would be you. Check your pocket. You came out here early and got it. So I'm just saying, man, Daddy, you know I love you, but every day, if y'all ever see me in my neighborhood and my shirt is tucked in to go check the mail, it has officially happened. It is a wrap. Because I don't know what to tuck. And I'm talking about the T-shirt tucking in. What is it about tucking in your T-shirt? I don't know. So tucked in nation, I'm doing my best. But if the membership come in the mail and you know, and I put my card in, I send it in
next week.
It's a wrap.
Right around the corner. We'll come back. We have been all over the place, and we got a lot to get to. We'll talk again. Georgia.
Yep.
Blaine Gilmore joined us. Rich Styles going to join us in hour number 2 as well. We'll talk in Falcons football. On the flip side, it is 3 and Out. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We are streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com. You can also find us broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can see Ben and I cutting the fool talking about Tom Hanks here on a Tuesday. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Great to be back here with you on 3 and Out. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you're with us. 912-342-7184. You can join us or hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. At Pigskin Radio there on Twitter. You can also follow us along on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can see the show live as well across the radio network. Ben, Falcons OTAs are still going on, and a lot of conversation, obviously, about what the Falcons are going to do at quarterback and how they look at wide receiver. But the running game was pretty tough last year, and that might be putting it nicely out there. As they're in OTAs, you have Cordell Patterson, Damian Williams, Tyler Algier, and Jeremy McNichols. That's your 4 guys. Is that better than what they had last year?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again,
don't like the fact that Cordell Patterson is listed as number 1, but I will say
he's number 1 on the depth chart.
I will say this. The only reason why a guy like Cordell Patterson is is listed as number 1, Kevin, you're trying to get as much height and athleticism on the field at one time. The thing about Cordell Patterson, you could definitely get him out the backfield. He could definitely run the football if you got him, if you got Alden Tate, if you got Brian Edwards, if you got Kyle Pitts. That's a lot of height, a lot of athleticism. I expect Damian Williams to end up being a starter. Coming over from Kansas City, a guy, really had a very, very productive career, faster than most people give him credit for. I think he's, 30 years old, so you know how much he got left in the tank. Tyler Algier is obviously you got your rookie, got a guy coming in that definitely want to try to add depth, and a journeyman in Jeremy McNichols. I like the fact that 3 of these guys are running backs. The starter is an athlete that can play running back, and it's about and I think what happens is, Kevin, look, this time last year, Mike Davis felt good about him. A guy that came in, and I don't like the whole he looked good in camp. Okay. Well, he don't even play in the preseason. So I think that now, Kevin, you got a guy in Damian Williams, 220, 225. You got Tyler Algier, around, about I want to say about like 210, 215. Jeremy McNichols, a guy that understands was with the Titans the last 2 years. So seeing a guy like Derrick Henry work, these guys got good work ethic. They're coming from Titans, playoff team, Kansas City, Super Bowl winning team. Damian Williams was one of those running backs on that team. Tyler Algier, you got guys coming in from, really, really, and obviously you got Cordero. I think that you're going to have production this year, Kevin, because we don't know. You don't know what Drake London and you don't know what he's going to be yet. And I'm seeing all the love given to Kyle Pitts and no other tight end is that. What about the touchdowns? Oh, we got to get that up. Is Alden Tate ready to be a headliner? Is Brian Edwards coming over from the Raiders ready to be headliners? Because if you can get a when I say a solid running game, I don't mean you got to be top 5, top 10, but you can't be bottom 5, you can't be bottom 10. Sometimes being around 20, 21, that's fine. That means it's good enough. 3rd and 1, get the first down. You up by 6 points with 4 minutes left. Can you run your 4-minute offense to get first downs? Because Kevin.
Well, they could do any of that last year. I mean, again, I look at that and say, to me, this is going to be somebody had better prove it in preseason. I don't want to sit here and look at this group and say, well, somebody's got to be number 1, so that's what it is. I mean, no, this team was bad last year running the football. I think we've pointed out that stat. They were horrible against the run, and they were horrible running the football. Like every measurable that you think is key, the Falcons were bad at it.
Yeah.
Couldn't last and pass and rushing the quarterback. Number 1, I think they're number 1 and number 2 and giving up sacks. They were last in getting sacks. So they were bad all over. I want one of these guys, and I'm kind of like you, Ben. Not that I know Cordell made a whole lot of money off of what he did last year in a career year, but I don't want him to be the number 1 running back. No. And again, that's kind of go back to like Cordell Patterson is the who was the quarterback that came out of Michigan that
Deshaun Robinson.
Deshaun Robinson. He's the O-dub. He doesn't have a position. He's just an offensive weapon. I feel like that's what you're doing with Cordell Patterson. Is like, we don't know what we're going to do, so he's just going to be the starting running back. Why? Well, because he needs some touches. Well, is he the best running back? No. Is he the best receiver? No. But we got to get him the ball. So we're going to put that, to me, concerns me, Ben, because that does not a running game make. To me, that puts it in there. It's like, well, when Damian Williams comes in, well, we're going to give him the football. To me, it makes you a little more predictable.
Denard Robinson. I'm sorry.
Denard Robinson. You're correct. I worry about that with Cordell. Not that he didn't earn his money. It's not a money thing. He's not a real running back, right? Everybody last year was like, you have a wide receiver playing running back. It was the Aaron Rodgers, stuff from Green Bay. Like, dude, you're starting running back. Where's 88? Like, what? Like those years in Green Bay, he's like, your starting running back is wearing 88. You don't have a running back. And I feel like if Cordell Patterson is going to be the starter, you likely don't have a running back that you feel good about, Ben. You have a guy that you want to get the ball in his hands and let him go work. And again, maybe if Cordell is listening to me say this, he'd probably, cussing me up one side and down another, because I know, people get offended by that. But look, there's nothing wrong with saying you're an athlete and you're going to go out and get things done in space. That doesn't mean you're a running back, right? That doesn't mean that you should be the number one guy. To me, I feel like if you're going to stick to what they thought worked in Tennessee, Ben, to me, Damian Williams is more the prototypical guy that I think Arthur Smith wants.
Yes.
And Cordell Patterson is the guy that can make plays for you. And to me, I like him in that role. I like him better in that role than, hey, we're going to give you 12 carries a game. No, let Damian Williams get 15 carries a game. Why don't we put you in the backfield at the same time and make defenses guess and just let you work? So I know that's overly simplistic, Ben, but
that's what it is. At the end of the day, right? No, think about this. Hold on for a second. Kevin, what you do for a living? Oh, I do radio. What are you doing? What do you mean? Like, I do a lot. Listen, obviously you got different roles. The reason Cordell Patterson, think about this, had the career year. I'm gonna go out there and free agent 31 other teams. Well, over here, bro, we're gonna let you play special teams and play receiver. Yeah, but also play running back. Listen, Deebo Samuel's got y'all out here going crazy. We're gonna pay you to play receiver. Now, on a team like Atlanta that lacks any offensive identity, okay, we can do what we did last year. But since last year, Matty Ice is gone. Mike Davis is gone. We want to get back to Arthur Smith. In 1 year, we still don't know what his offensive identity is, because we kept saying, Kevin, this is right, wrong, and different. We said, if you got Derrick Henry, I don't know how good of an OC you are. That doesn't mean that A.J. Brown wasn't incredible. That doesn't mean that Ryan Tannehill didn't have moments.
But you have a guy that's not comparable to anybody.
You had a 2,000-yard rush. So if you look at your offense,
but not just that, Ben, but like nobody in the league has anything close to Derrick Henry. Like, not even close.
So I think now you're saying, look, we're looking at this offense. You could do gimmicks when you got a good offense to keep a defense off balance. If Cordell Patterson is our starting running back, and we got Damian Williams here, hopefully he'll be able to show some signs of life in our training camp. Tyler Algier, he's going to have to learn from guys like Damian Williams, like Jeremy McNichols. Now, is it good to have a Cordell Patterson? Absolutely. But that's for third down, second down, trying to move the chains, trying to get in a manageable third down. Maybe you do something with him on first down. But this comes down to how many athletes can get on the field at one time. It's still early, obviously, because of his contract extension, because he was on the team last year. That's why I think Cordell is number one. That's why I think Cordell's number one, because there are two teams that have guys that play running back that have 80-something numbers. That would be Atlanta and New Orleans. New Orleans got Ty Montgomery. He's the one with 88.
Yeah.
You know why that looks weird? Yeah, because it is. So I just think that, Kevin, this year, it's about identity on offense. It's about, hey, we're going to line up with a running back that looks like a running back, has a running back number. You went to, you went to the Atlanta Falcons website and said, oh, Damian Wick, running back. Because they're going to need stability. Why? Because you got a lot of guys that are athletes out there. Marcus Mariota, runner and a thrower. Cordell Patterson, a positionless player, right? Kyle Pitts can physical freak. Then you start talking about Alton Tate. Start talking about Brian Edwards. You got some guys, but a lot of question marks out there. I don't know how good Brian Edwards is. I saw them say, man, oh my God, the Falcons got a beast. Well, you know how they might not be the case? Why? Because the other team let him go. Go ahead and get him. I'm just saying, and that's nothing against him. Sometimes, hey man, maybe he's not going to work into the offense. But for me, Kevin, I'm going to need to see more running backs playing running back this year, because if Cordell Patterson ain't a running back, you can put him in the slot.
I mean, and again, I know you hate comparisons and pigeonholing guys, and don't not say he's this guy, but don't you see him more being Max useful as a guy like a Julian Edelman guy, where it's like, hey, you can play slot, but you can also motion back here. We can give you
Yeah, of
the
course,
football.
of
And again,
course.
I'm not saying he is like that, but his skill set is like, hey, just give him
Oh,
the
he's an
football.
athlete now. Yeah. But I think sometimes what football is, right, Kevin? Think about this. I remember when Darren McFadden made the Wildcat incredible,
Sure.
when he was at Arkansas. Then they unveiled the Wildcat with Ronnie Brown and company down there with the Miami Dolphins. And nobody could stop it. Then they played New England, and New England beat the brakes off of Miami with Ronnie Brown. And guess what? Never to be seen from or heard from again. Now, can you go into the basement of your offensive playbook and pull out a play? Yeah. Everybody got something, but yeah. But if you think you're finna win consistently in the National Football League with these defensive players and coordinators, with wide receivers playing running back, Taysom Hill, he plays quarterback, he plays tight end, he plays fullback, he plays running back, he plays special teams. But who's starting quarterback this year? But Jameis Winston. Why? Because I need a guy that plays the quarterback position. I like guys that have to find different because they got a skill set. Cordell Patterson has a skill set that warrants him. And this is another thing too, Kevin. I hope they do this. The more you put Cordell Patterson at receiver, you know what he can do now? Return kick. You think Cordell Patterson is as good as what you didn't even realize how great he is as a punt returner, kick returner. Great. Couldn't do it. Too valuable. So you have to take him away from what he does because you got to play running back, got to play receiver. Put him at receiver. Let him have some plays at running back. Put him at because he can flip the field. It could be a house call. So I love Cordell. Obviously, he wear that Falcons red and black. Love Cordell Patterson, but I just think that it's more of what they didn't have compared to what they wish they did have. This year, you got running backs. Hopefully, Cordell don't have to play that much at running back. We'll see what happens, Kevin. But the preseason for the Atlanta Falcons is going to be very, very interesting because we're going to see just how guys' roles is going to look, come when the real bullets start flying.
Yeah. Again, you look at the run game, and maybe there's a piece for Marcus Mariota to be a part of that as well in the run game. But yeah, obviously this is a better put together group, but I would love it if it was Damian Williams, Tyler Algier, and Cordell will give you 3 or 4, not your number one.
Yeah.
Number one. And again, this is just OTA, so that obviously could change. But coming out of training camp, if he's still number one, is that just kind of telling you what they don't feel good about Damian Williams, or they are just trying to put him somewhere to make sure Patterson gets touched? Why not just say he's a slot? Right?
I would hope that because of his contract.
Is that going to offend somebody if he's a slot receiver?
No, because everybody not named Kyle Pitts. Obviously, Drake London is going to be the starter. Alden Tate going into year 5, coming over from Cincinnati. Brian Edwards going in, I think, year 3, coming over from the Raiders. Brian Edwards probably going to be a starter on the left side. You're going to have Drake London on the outside. Alden Tate going to factor into that. No, Cordell Patterson coming off a career year. We gave you some money, man. Well, you going to earn that money. I think it being in the slot is good. You need more than one at every position. I need 2 tight ends. I need 2 slot receivers. I need 2 guys on the outside. That way I'm not missing a beat when one guy goes out. But they're going to look like the freaking Atlanta Hawks when they out there. how much height you got?
That's true.
6'5", 6'6", 6'4". So they're going big bodies everywhere. Maybe that's why they got him at receiver. Running back right now because he's another big body. But towards the end, when the games really start going, it's going to be more running back because Cordell's like 225. I want to say Damian Williams is 225. He's 5'10. So you ain't missing no beef. You just missing height.
Yeah.
Let running backs play running backs. These guys have done their whole life.
We've got more to come here. It's 3 and Out on the Pigskin Radio Network. Good to be here on this Tuesday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, Braves and A's coming up a little bit later tonight. NBA Game 3 tomorrow. Finals. Game 3 tomorrow. Ben, we had a wild swing in Game 1 that Boston comes back to win on the road and then just blow out City in Game 2. I mean, look, I know there's varying strategies. A lot of people said, hey, maybe the Celtics are like, hey, we already stole one on the road. It's not going our way in Game 2. We'll just pack it in. Is that a problem for you in the finals where, I mean, even throughout the playoffs, teams do it, but where the strategy is, well, we kind of look at it as we got what we wanted. And if it's not going our way, rather than expend a bunch of energy like we did in Game 1 to come back and win, well, we'll just let this one go and lose by 30.
I think it's a sign of the times, right, Kevin? I think if you are, it's the old scenario of I'm chasing the guy to the end zone. He's 10 yards ahead of me. I'm going to run because everybody's watching, but I ain't running as fast as I could be running. And it's like trying to conserve energy. I know at a certain point I can't catch this team because Kevin,
But you came back from like 15 down in Game 1.
Yeah, but the thing is too, right? You know, them threes was dropping. Jason Tatum had a bounce back game in Game 2, but you got to look at who you're facing. No one who has more. I mean, finals experience right now than the Warriors. I mean, Draymond, Clay, Andre Iguodala, Steph. You got a bunch of guys that understand the situation. Andrew Wiggins, and I think you said though, Kevin. The greatest thing about Game 1 is it's proved to the Warriors that they can be beat. They can be beat at their own game, and they stole one. Now, Game 3 is going to have Game 3 is going to be totally different, obviously, tomorrow night, in Beantown. But I think that what makes the finals incredible is the stars, the stars are definitely like on display. Draymond Green is living up to the antics of being a bully. They got some type of meme going that I don't know what Draymond was doing. He's just running everybody, just pushing everybody away from.
But I heard that the officials came out after Game 2 were like, yeah, we realized the guy's got a technical, or has got a technical already, and another one means he's going to get a suspension in the finals, so we officiate that differently. And Draymond was talking about, I should get preference. Like, no. A technical foul is a technical foul, right? You shouldn't officiate it differently because you don't want to throw a star player out. I get it. You don't want to, but if it's committed, I mean, if you're Draymond, obviously you're going to play with some freedom if they've come out and said, well, because he already got one, then we're going to be a little lax before we call another one because we don't want to throw him out. I mean, to me, that's open invitation to get away with some stuff.
That is, and that's not doing your job. I understand that certain players definitely come with a certain respect level. Draymond Green has been a incredible player since he stepped foot into the NBA. But you got to call it. You got to call the game. They pay you to go out there and call the game. The players should be faceless, even though they're not. The players should be nameless, even though they're not. Draymond Green plays a certain way. He's an enforcer. Draymond Green is the modern age, Dennis Rodman, Ben Wallace. I'm not here for what I do scoring the football, scoring the basketball. I'm here for what I do basketball IQ, being a defensive presence, being just a nuisance out there. Getting guys out of their game, so worry about me and my antics that you forget. That go 30 right there, dropping threes. That go Wiggins dunking on people. That go Andre Iguodala giving you quality minutes. That go Clay. So Draymond understand what his role is, but in a sense, what Draymond is really saying, Kevin, is, hey man, you don't like what you said, call it on me. That's the age of social media and everything's being watched and scrutinized, and these refs are saying, look, man, like we know how he plays. Do we call it on him? But I like the fact that it's 1-1. It's still an incredible series. I hope it goes 7 because the Game 7 makes everything even. But the Celtics got a big win in Game 1. Obviously, Clay and Stephen Curry came back and got a big win in Game 2. We'll see what happens in Game 3. But Draymond, love the way he plays because, like I said, real similar to a Cordero Patterson. He's a positionless player. He's too small to play center, even though they put him. He's not the biggest to play power forward, but he's good enough to guard anybody on the floor. And some could say he is the heart and soul of the Warriors right now. Check the resume. 5 finals appearances, three finals championships, trying to add to a 4th. If Draymond ain't never got to worry about being the MVP because it's all defense. I think Game 1, he gave you a whopping 4 points, 5 assists. I don't know what he did in Game 2. But I love Draymond, though, man. You don't like the way Draymond plays, man? Beat him. Oh, that's right. You got to deal with Steph and Clay and Andre. and apparently
a little, hey, what? Hey, we're not going to ring him up as
Well,
fast.
Kevin, it's not everybody in every league. You got a player that's a little bit.
I know.
I mean, for the Celtics, it's Marcus Smart. He do the same type of stuff. Only difference is he's defensive player of the year, so it's gonna come with a little bit more stripes. But he ain't got that coveted world championship, that finals,
There's a lot
final championship yet.
A lot of people in Cleveland would say Michael Jordan against was it
Russell?
Russell? Yeah. Got a little shove off, maybe? No.
Put on the brakes. Hey man, it came back and hit it with the, hey man, Michael Jordan.
And he did it in front of Craig Elo. He hit one in front of Craig.
And and all these defensive stoppers saying, "Hey man, I should have been on Mike." I don't think it was gonna really matter who was on Mike. Gary Payton, he said, "Yeah, I should have just beat him up." Gary Payton said, "Probably wouldn't matter. They probably still win it, win it." But at least I beat him up a little bit. And then Jordan Little said, "The glove. I had no problem." I mean, think about it. You look at something.
I don't think he had a whole lot of problems.
You look at something and go, the glove. I had no problem with Gary Payton. Not a problem.
Just none. Nobody good. That's why he is the legit GOAT. We
Yeah.
got more to come here. It is 3 now. Take 3 around the corner. Blaine Gilmer, UGAsports.com, going to join us. Arch Manning was hanging out around the Arches this past weekend. Is he actually going to go to Georgia? We'll talk to Blaine about that. Also, Rich Styles, Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Join us. Everybody going, not everybody, but a lot of folks going to this LIV Tour, the U.S. Open next week. They came out and made a statement about players going to play over there. We'll get to that with Rich in hour 2. It's 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to be here on this Tuesday. We've got the Braves and A's coming up later tonight. Braves Matt Olson against his former team. I have that for you coming up 6:05. After we are done here on 3 and Out, we'll hear from Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst at UGAsports.com, coming up in hour number 2. Also, Rich Stiles, Back Nine Boys Golf Show, will join us, and we'll talk all things golf with him. There is a lot going on around the PGA Tour and the LIV, the LI, whatever you want to call it, the LIV Tour that's going on starting this week there in London. Ben, yesterday I had it down. You talked about it earlier. I had it down. I want to talk to you about Ben watching weird videos on the internet, and Ben is one that can always be.
Yeah.
If you want to know something funny or weird, Ben will come up to you and go, "Look at this."
Oh yeah.
And you go. So today you retweeted a video of I don't know where he was, a dude at the zoo. So I guess
doing something he ain't got.
And
no
he
business.
goes up to the cage
the orangutan.
that the orangutan is in, and the orangutan looks at him and goes, "Get over here!" And sticks his arm out.
Yes.
And like if you've seen fight videos where people are like, you grab somebody by the shirt and they're pulling back, and the shirt, he's got that dude by the shirt, ain't letting go. The dude walks back to try to free his shirt, and the orangutan goes, "Gotcha!" and grabs him by the ankles and just grips on. It's like, you're not going anywhere.
He better be lucky.
I'm like, dude looked like he was scared, and the orangutan looked like he had been wrestling, since 6th grade. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Like he had a dude in the lock, and it's like, loosen my grip, ain't gonna happen.
Number one, what you doing that close to the cage? Number two, the orangutan when he got it. It's like the orangutan, like I'm about to get this dude. I'm tired of him looking at me. He think I'm something to play with. That grip. What was the friend doing behind? Like, what are you doing?
That was not a good friend.
You're not doing anything.
He was the guy that's like, let go. Like the orangutan.
I'm like, what are you doing? King Louis was heated. King Louis reached out, grabbed him.
Was that his name?
No, that's what the orangutan thing was on Jungle Book. I'm just what I mean. I'm just saying what King Louis reached out, grabbed. No, animals. Listen. Wild animals are amazing creatures.
They really
are.
And
and just like Kevin, think about this. I would have, if that's one of us, you about pass out. Number one, I'm not getting that close to anything. I mean, because he's just looking out. So he just went, grab his shirt. I'm gonna pull his shirt, and I'm gonna grab his legs. The dude end up like parallel to the ground, and still the friend is probably like, bruh, get away from that orangutan, man. No, man, he can't do nothing behind. No, he can't do something.
The friend's
bro.
like, I'm not getting to catch. I'm not fixing to catch those hands.
Number one, I'm not getting close to anything that can potentially grab me or spit on me. And the orangutan is right there.
So no llamas.
Oh no! How people be like, going on safari.
Don't llamas spit?
Yeah, the llamas come to you, or you let the camels like stick their face in the car and stuff. Go on now. Like I ain't playing with none of that stuff, man. Like,
have you ever been to a place like that?
Yeah. I've been to Animal Kingdom down in Orlando, and you get to walk. They take you on a safari or whatever, and some of the animals are just out there.
No, I'm talking like there is a place in Florida. I forget the name.
The Everglades, whatever.
It's down in South Florida. I think it's called Lion Country Safari. Anybody heard of that? Have you ever heard of it?
Not doing it.
No. So you get out there, and you pay, and you drive your car through the place. So like we're here. I think I have it on my phone. I have to look. So we're driving, right? And there's literally like a rhino walking outside the vehicle next to the car, or a zebra or something. Like you go through all these different ones, and there's like gazelles running across the road and all that kind of stuff, and they're right there. Now, no tigers. There's tigers in an separate thing, but you didn't drive through there. But all the quote animals that won't attack you, I guess they're just out there.
I mean, so when the rhino's walking by your car, you like this? Don't say no, don't.
No, I rolled the window, and I was like, if he turns his head though. Hopefully he is not spooked by the click.
The reason why I wouldn't do that,
but it was cool because you're like out there in it. But again, I'm not sticking my hand out the vehicle or anything like that. And no, if a giraffe or something came up to the car and wanted to stick its head in the car, that ain't happening either, Ben. I'm with you.
I'm putting. Listen, because my kids, I'm putting the car on child lock.
How bad would your kids be freaking out if like a gazelle or a wildebeest or something just stuck his head in the car?
Listen, Daddy, open up the sunroof. No. I ain't finna be no open up no sunroof. Like, I mean, look, at the end of the day, right, they're wild animals for a reason. They destroy anything Their habitat is anything that's not supposed to be in their habitat. Very, very impressed by King Louis, the orangutan that grabbed the guy by the shirt, grabbed him by the legs, and he had the orangutan King Louis Kung Fu grip on old boy because he lifted old boy up like he was nothing. And once again, the friend has proven that you are not, listen, you like a passenger that go to sleep on a long road trip. You are no help at all. You just sitting there. Now, to be fair to the friend, maybe the friend's scared as hell. I see what he's doing to you. I don't, because what if he let you go and grab me? Then we really gonna have a problem. I would have passed out. I'm not dealing with that, man.
I can see.
I'm not because
If this ever happens to me at the zoo, this is what I'm
no.
gonna see. I'm gonna see elbows and rear end of Ben Troop. I'm out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You're gonna see me second.
I'm in the death grip.
You're gonna be second leg in the relay race. Yeah. You gonna see booty and elbows just running. I don't mess. Listen, I'm from the South to where Kevin. Listen, am I the only one to where, if you're walking down the street, you're dealing with the ducks crossing the street. You got squirrels. If a squirrel's running across the street, he stops and he turns around.
Yeah.
And he looks at you. Do you go don't
do it?
I don't want no trouble.
No, I look, yeah.
Like you just go, all right, let's squirrel.
I mean, the problem I always have with like animals is that you don't really know what they're doing.
No.
Like dogs, okay. Some dogs you can look at it like, okay, he's happy. I live by this line. Cats are not to be trusted.
Nope. They don't make noise.
I know some of you are cat people, but
nope.
Cats are not to be trusted. Because cats, if you notice, if you're not a cat person, you go to people's houses that have cats, you're like, oh, he's so sweet. Cats will just look at you and then all of a sudden jump and they're in your lap. Yeah. Just like that for no reason.
Not doing it.
Dogs will at least give you that look and then they give you the rock. The 1, 2, I'm about to do it. And then they do it. Cats not to be trusted. I don't know what I would do if orangutan grabbed me. Because what do you do to provoke orangutan? He's like, if you don't stop looking at me.
Too close.
He gave me the
Everybody got the same fear when you go to the zoo.
Gave me the
you over there by the gorillas. They got the big open area, and then they got the big open area, and they got this part that separates you like with the water. I know ain't the only one that been to a zoo. I went to the Atlanta Zoo and I said, is that gorilla backing up?
We'll come back. We'll get more zoo stories next. It's 3 and Out. Good to have you along here, 3 and Out. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, thanks for making us a part of your day. A lot to get to here in hour number 2. Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst, UGAsports.com, will join us in about 20 minutes. We'll talk about Georgia recruiting post-national championship. Also, Arch Manning is going to be a Georgia Bulldog. We'll get to that coming up in just a little bit. And Rich Stiles, host of the Back Nine Boys Golf Show, will join us coming up in about 30 minutes here on the program. So much to get to in regards to the PGA, the LIV, the U.S. Open next week, and more. So he'll join us coming up in just a little bit. But first, Ben, let us take 3 here on 3 and Out. All right, take 1. The Atlanta Falcons signed Jared Bernhardt as a non-drafted free agent. He is a college lacrosse player. People will say he was the best player in college lacrosse last season. How hard will it be for him to make the team? Can he make the team? I mean, I don't know that he's played football since maybe high school, played lacrosse in college.
It's going to be hard for him to make the team. I think sometimes, though, you can't have those guys that can play different sports, Kevin. I know that there are a lot of guys in the National Football League now that, you know, they have a basketball background and, you know, they're able to translate. It's about learning whatever position you're going to play. But
he's 6'1", 195.
Well, yeah, 6'1", 195, so he's probably going to be a receiver or, you know, definitely need some help at the running back position, a guy that's used to, you know, contact. But I'm rooting for him. I think when you think about this Falcons team, you know, you're going to need a guy that's going to give you maximum effort, a person that's going to have to be very, very knowledgeable of everything going on. It's not the athleticism, though. It's the speed. It's how everything happens suddenly when you out there, you know, on the field, and then you got to be able to translate information from the film room, you know, to the practice field. But hey, I'm rooting for him. The Atlanta Falcons right now are trying to sign anybody they can get for the cheap. And if you never played football before, come on through.
Again, we've seen guys that have been like rugby guys and all that who have done it, but I just wonder, you know, you didn't play football for 4 years, and now you're going to try to make it in the pros.
Yeah.
There are guys who have played football for 4 and 5, 6, 7 years who can't make it into pros.
Hey, look, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. They are giving him an opportunity. They're giving him a shot. The thing about the training camp, OTAs, mandatory mini camps, you got a lot of bodies out there. I want to see who fit. And sometimes, Kevin, you bring guys in because they're good for your locker room. I mean, certain guys are really, really good for the locker room, helping guys gel. It is a very, very traumatic time. It's a very, very stressful time when you are a fringe guy, when I don't know if I'm going to make the team, or I'm a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round rookie, or I can't pick up the terminology. Sometimes you bring a guy in for their leadership, for their perspective, and just the way they go about their business. Hey, I'm rooting for them, but like I said, in a very, very, you know, not the greatest talented, not the most talented team you ever seen. You want to be able to try to see what guys can work out, and if it doesn't work out, for him, Kevin. I mean, it doesn't work out for Jared. He's at least auditioning for 31 other teams, or at least to make the Atlanta Falcons practice squad.
And there you go. Hey, so I think it's obviously going to be tough, but who was it that the Patriots signed that like didn't even play?
The receiver. He played lacrosse. He played lacrosse. Yeah. The receiver. He ended up being. But once again,
I'm trying to remember who it was. But yeah,
I will. Well, listen, we gonna get a statistician on this show one day. We're gonna just get. I'm gonna snap my finger and give it to him.
Do it.
I will find him here in a second.
So Ben is looking that up. We'll move along then to take 2. Aaron Donald is now the highest paid non-quarterback ever in the National Football League, and you came on yesterday and said, and rightfully so, best defensive player in the league. So he got with that 2-year, $60 million restructuring. He's the highest non-paid quarterback ever in the National Football League. Who should be number 2?
Well, before I even get to that, Chris Hogan was his name.
Chris Hogan, okay.
Former lacrosse player. Right. Listen, congratulations to Aaron Donald being the highest paid non-quarterback in the National Football League. He earns every single penny. The question is, who should be number 2 as far as like a
non-quarterback highest paid?
Wow, man,
because he broke the bank.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you who should be the second highest non-quarterback. Debo. Whoa. I'm gonna tell you why, Kevin. Now,
I thought you were gonna say a tight end.
No.
Because you gotta have that look. I was like,
if Travis Kelce is, I definitely think he's well underpaid. He would be a great number 2, but this is why I think it should be Debo. Debo Samuels is disgruntled because he plays receiver. He also plays running back. He's missed to do everything for that San Francisco, but he was a first-team All-Pro at receiver. First team. But he also had 5 rushing touchdowns. Kyle Shanahan is really, really good at finding ways to give playmakers the ball. If you're going to put me at running back, and I'm also a first-team All-Pro at what I got drafted to do, I want to get paid for both. So the second highest paid non-quarterback should be Debo. Because if you don't like it, don't have me in the backfield. I think Debo should get a shout out to Debo Samuels. You know, Debo going to games, and I think Debo was at a regular season Warriors game, sitting there with Steph coming up to him, giving him jerseys. I'm like, must be good to be a 49er these days. Think about this. The San Francisco 49ers actually play in Santa Clara. The Warriors actually play in San Francisco. So the San Francisco 49ers actually got to go to San Francisco to see a Warriors game, and the Warriors got to go to Santa Clara to see a freaking 49ers game. So there we go.
Got to take a road trip.
Yeah.
Either way.
Straight down 880. Shout out to the Bay, you know, which is crazy out there in California. You drive down the street, you see cows and, you know, horses that, like in the middle of the interstate, just craziness. But California's a crazy state.
Either way, it's a good pick.
Yeah.
I thought you might have said like a Jalen Ramsey or something, but
Jalen Ramsey always got a. I mean, but
short term,
but Travis Kelce is a good pick.
Yeah.
I mean, back to back 1,000 yards seasons as a tight end, broke all these records. Silky smooth with what he does. Hey man, got a chance to meet him at the Pro Bowl back in 2015. Cool dude.
Well, there you go. All right, moving along. Take 3. This is the most important one. Then before we get to Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst with UGAsports.com, we'll talk obviously dog recruiting with him. Today is National Chocolate Ice Cream Day. However, Ben, is chocolate ice cream even in the top 5?
Woo, let's go.
I know I just made some people crash out there.
Hold on. Okay, listen. Vanilla got to be in it. No. Vanilla is in the top 5. All right, now you start getting into flavors. Strawberry, sorry, in the top 5. Cookies and cream, sorry, is in the top 5. Now,
cookie dough probably.
Cookie dough, number 4. We are already the number 5. People's like Tom Hanks movies. It's too many names. I will say chocolate does make it in slightly top in the 5, Kevin. But I will say this: not chocolate by itself, not just chocolate ice cream. You know, we talking about
like fudge ribbon or something.
Yeah, like Moose Tracks or something like that.
Well, they don't make chocolate Moose Tracks, or do they?
Yeah, they do.
I thought it was Moose Tracks was vanilla ice cream.
They got chocolate.
Okay.
What we're gonna do one day on the show? We're gonna just do some taste testing. We're gonna come in. Kevin
gonna say,
a whole bunch. Kevin, listen, I'm gonna do a segment. Kevin gonna be eating and say, "Oh my God, this is amazing," and I'm gonna do that. No, now to the. I will say this: chocolate is for children. Shout out to my niece Jamie. My niece Jamie will say, Uncle Benny, you know I don't eat vanilla. I don't eat chocolate.
I'm saying as an adult, you probably don't go to chocolate as like your number 1. I don't think it's a top 5. And again, not that we had a discussion about this the other day, where you remember back in the day, my grandparents always had this, and my granddad always had this in his house, the Neapolitan ice cream.
Yes.
Where you had the strawberry, vanilla chocolate. And my son said, so the chocolate and strawberry. I was like, no, vanilla's in the middle.
Yep.
Because chocolate and strawberry couldn't touch.
Yep.
And just me, the chocolate was always the last in the bucket, because people would scrape the strawberry, people would scrape the vanilla, and then chocolate was left. So I say chocolate not in my top 5. Not in my top 5.
Look, listen, Kevin, like you said, vanilla. Listen, that soft serve. Ooh,
One I really liked as a kid. I have not had it in a long time, and if it's one of those where I want to make sure my taste haven't changed. But I used to love lemon custard from the Varsity. Very good. There was a couple of ice cream shops that had lemon custard. Oh, very, very good.
Listen, my favorite ice cream now.
So that would be like my number 1 or number 2.
Cheesecake. Listen, cheesecake ice cream. If you don't know, now you know. It is woo. No,
chocolate would be in my top 5.
Yeah, I mean, I know it. I don't know what you would consider. I was a big sherbet fan growing up. Sherbet is but you're right, Kevin. I mean, if I go somewhere, I mean, I'm only eating chocolate because that's all we got. We look around like
lime sherbet and some 7-Up.
Oh my goodness. See, now Kevin really getting into it. Listen, the lime sherbet is 7-Up. If you've never had it, people, you ain't from the sizzle. I'm telling you.
We used to get that a lot as a kid. I was like, you want some lime sherbet and 7-Up? Sure.
Good, man.
It was amazing. It was made. No, Chocolate though, not in my top 5. You say it's 5 for you? It's not in my top 5. I move it out.
Shout out to my niece Jameson. What she's saying, Uncle Benny, don't do this to me. So I will put it in top 5, begrudgingly. But yeah,
begrudgingly. So it's right at number 5.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to, make sure we're in accordance with where you have.
But like I said, in a, we got like options.
Yeah.
Like if I had to be an ice cream and eat myself, it's not gonna be chocolate. So just so y'all know. What? Like I am an ice cream, what would you do? Oh, it's gonna be vanilla. Cheesecake. What about chocolate? Nope, not doing it.
That may be the weirdest.
That's the
weirdest thing ever said on the show.
That's the kind of stuff we used to say, like when I play football. Like, hey man, if you was a food, what would you like? If you were a food, but you had to eat yourself, would you be? Oh man, mac and cheese. I mean,
I would say that might be the weird. If I was an ice cream cone, and I was a chocolate, I wouldn't eat myself.
No. I will say this: a chocolate dipped cone, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. But then again,
but that's different. Somewhat. It's not chocolate ice cream.
It's not.
You're coating the vanilla ice cream.
And for those of you out here who get vanilla Frosties, you know who you are.
Might be the only acceptable.
You should be. No.
Is Kevin, a Frosty ice cream? You consider? I mean, what is? Or is it a Frosty?
I don't know. I tell you what.
Is this its own thing?
I think, Kevin, have you ever had a vanilla Frosty?
No, actually, my full disclosure, my wife actually gave the what for to a drive-through employee for even asking. We went there. She goes, and I would like Frosty. I would like 2 Frosties. And the lady, I think the lady or whoever it was, goes, chocolate or vanilla. And she goes, excuse me? She goes, there is only one kind.
Come on.
And I was highly worried we were even going to get that after that discussion at the drive-thru. That's take 3. We do it every day. At this time, we'll come back talking some Georgia football. Blaine Gilmer, UGAsports.com, joins us here on 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here, 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you are with us. Big weekend this past weekend in Athens for recruiting, and joining us, the recruiting analyst from UGAsports.com, Blaine Gilmer, steps in here on 3 and Out. Blaine, welcome. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you, Kevin and Ben, for bringing me on. I'm excited to talk a little bit about Georgia recruiting here.
Hey, absolutely. And what's the vibe been like? Obviously, post national championship. I know Georgia was recruiting at a high level, but I'm sure it's probably kicked to another notch post national championship.
Well, that's actually been a odd dynamic, right? It seems like there was this envision that if Georgia ever broke down the door, that recruits and everything would just kind of flood in. But I think it's been kind of a reverse filter, if you will, where I think Kirby Smart has seen the longevity, of course, at Alabama where he was before and things like that, and knows that once you get to the top, I think you have to be even more selective in particular about who is taken into the program. So I think it's really actually been even more of a selective process. So it's kind of been an interesting dynamic there in the world of recruiting for Georgia.
And Blaine, how much crazy are these recruiting visits? I understand it's about catering to your demographic, which is, 17 to 18 year olds. But how crazy are these visits getting? Because obviously, you got the Arch Mannings of the world, but they got to cater to these guys, and they got 4 or 5 stars on campus all throughout this offseason.
Absolutely, and you're talking about every one of 13 official visitors having their own, blacked out SUV, taking them from the airport to campus around anywhere they need to go. First class deal with the accommodations that they have, unbelievable food options, all that kind of stuff all throughout the deal. And having guests like Thomas Davis came back and talked to the recruits this weekend. A former Georgia Bulldog and an NFL legend in his own right. So they're pulling out all the stops when it comes to these big official visits. And this last official visit was actually the most official visitors that Georgia's ever had under the Kirby Smart era. They had 13 official visitors and one guy there that was on an unofficial, but he was very, very highly coveted, just like the official visitors. So,
and Blaine, obviously, the guy that caught a lot of headlines is Arch Manning. I mean, he plays quarterback. His last name is Manning. He's highly sought after. Where do you see this thing right now? I know Georgia fans were in the stands when he came on a visit during the season last year, say, "Hey, we want Arch to come to Athens." Obviously, you've got a very talented quarterback room. You believe in Athens. A lot of people say it's maybe Georgia and Texas. Do you see it as that's the option? Is there a great chance that a Manning winds up in Athens?
I would say Georgia is trending towards being a favorite in this right now. However, Texas is going to get that last opportunity, last official visit that comes out. Alabama, I mean, you never count out Nick Saban in anything in life. I mean, you're just crazy to do that if you count Nick Saban out at all when it comes to college football. But the fact that they have taken Eli Holstein, a 2023 quarterback already in this class, tends to make you think that, that they're almost not conceding, but that it's highly unlikely he ends up at Alabama. So I think Georgia and Texas is two most viable options. And, Georgia certainly put their best foot forward this past weekend, and Texas will get the last crack at it. But, there's different theories out there, but at the same time, a lot of it's just theories because the Manning family is very, very schooled at controlling the narrative when it comes to this, and they've kept everything very, very close to the vest. But all indications by people who were on the visit with Arch Manning were that there was a lot of talk between him and Justice Haynes and TJ Shanahan. These are firsthand accounts of what it would be like to play together at Georgia and things of that nature.
And Blaine, to that end, I mean, you have to imagine wherever he goes, but if he goes to Georgia, are we talking about one of the, I don't want to say the best, but one of the most infamous, famous, highly awaited prospects ever to come to Georgia when you got a kid that plays quarterback named Manning and the expectations that come there with?
Well, yes, exactly. Thanks to his uncles and his grandfather, what they did in the game of football, what they've done in the media world since. Whether Arch actually ends up saying a word or anything like that going forward, he can just probably stand in front of a camera for commercials and with the last name Manning, if it remotely lives up to the expectations and be worth millions and millions of dollars of NIL the right way, the way that it was intended to be, because he's going to command that. And you talk about all of that. Other recruits see that as well, right? And so a high tide raises all boats. That would kind of be the draw there for an Arch Manning and maybe some other skill players on offense to join up with him.
And Blaine, when you think about a guy like Kirby Smart, I mean, he's wearing the gauntlet. Obviously, he had to beat Alabama to win the national championship. But it's almost like, yes, he finally got that. He finally got that weight off him. But how crazy is recruiting? Because people hear about it and they go, look, you talk about the fact that you got to remain there, but he's number one, number two, number three in the country. What's harder, running the gauntlet and winning the national championship, or being number one, number two, or number three in recruiting year in and year out?
Well, they kind of go hand in hand, right? You see the schools that are at the top. It's who is doing that recruiting that well. So I think that what Kirby Smart enjoys more, I think Kirby Smart enjoys recruiting more than anything else, because during the season he's having to deal a lot with media and things like that, stuff that he's not really keen on doing, right? He just wants to coach ball. But he's got that connection, his background, his dad being a high school coach. He enjoys talking to these high school athletes, to these high school coaches. He loves to recruit and does it like he's still an assistant coach and how he goes about it. So, when you hear some of these other recruits that we talk to, they refer to Nick Saban as Coach Saban. They refer to Ryan Day as Coach Day. But when they talk about Kirby, they refer to him as Kirby. I mean, it's a very personal relationship, it seems. So I think it's harder to land those recruiting classes, but it just so happens I think that's what Kirby enjoys more.
I mean, Blaine, you talked about already blacked out vehicles for each one of them. Making sure they got their favorite snack when they get up to the room. I've seen them. They got posters of them. I mean, do they tell them don't even bring a bag that will change your clothes? Everything you're gonna need is gonna be here when you get to the room.
I think they can bring obviously their old clothes and stuff, but when you talk about it, you're absolutely right. I mean, they for months are putting together information on these guys and years, and some of them about their likes, their dislikes. They track things they gather through conversations with these guys over the years, and all of it culminates in that official visit there. So that is one thing that all of these recruits, when they talked to us, they said what's mind-boggling about Georgia is the itinerary, is the attention to detail on the visit and how scheduled out everything is, and basically the formula that Georgia uses. I say this all the time. Georgia is as good as anybody when it comes to on-campus recruiting, and that's part of it. And a lot of that blueprint has been now taken to other places in the country, because as you have success and other people go to different jobs, so it's interesting to see how that all plays out. But Georgia certainly does a very good job managing the craziness, but making it controlled chaos, if you will, there, Ben.
Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst, UGAsports.com, joining us. Blaine, you mentioned, Arch Manning, NIL, and I just want to look at that from a recruiting wide standpoint. It's not supposed to be intertwined, right? But we spent all offseason alleging and thinking that it was intertwined with, Texas A&M's recruiting class. Is that just an inevitable relationship of some sorts where recruiting classes and NIL on some level are going to get tied together?
Oh, yes, no doubt. I mean, that everybody knows that's going on. But let me be clear with Arch. It's not inducement with Arch. Arch is actually, because of his name, because of the circumstances, he is going to be one that will organically draw unbelievable amounts of NIL, and through a way that it was intended to be, where if you're marketable, companies approach you, you can take advantage of your name, image, and likeness. But unfortunately, there are some circumstances out there among different places around the country where the inducement part of NIL has gotten involved, and that's of course what Saban and Fisher got in their public tiff about and things like that. So it's kind of become inevitable, and there are things that the NCAA and then all these conferences are going to try to get reined in at some point and change. But to a certain extent, the genie's out of the bottle, and NIL is here to stay and just part of recruitment now.
And finally, Blaine, the most pressing question on every Georgia fan's mind is: so we saw it all over the web this weekend. White uniforms, it's happening. Full white helmets, everything.
I would be shocked if the white helmets actually make it onto the field. I maybe could see the white on white unis, maybe, but Kirby, man, he's in love with those silver britches, in love with the traditional looks that Georgia has. He has allowed a few alternative looks here and there, but those classic, home reds and road whites with the silver britches in both scenarios, I think, are going to be the norm with the red helmet, of course, for Georgia.
Blaine Gilmer, recruiting analyst, UGAsports.com, our guest here on 3 and Out. Blaine, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Blaine Gilmer joining us here on 3 and Out. Boy, a lot of people saying Arch Manning going to wind up potentially in Athens. So you have a Manning at Ole Miss, a Manning went to Tennessee, and maybe one that goes to University of Georgia. Ben.
At the end of the day, Kevin, I mean, you know that he was going to move the needle when because people are always saying, I mean, how much pressure is on the offspring of great athletes? Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, it ain't Eli's kid, it ain't Peyton's kid,
yeah,
right? I mean, it's Cooper's kid, Arch, and I think that he's a 5-star, 6'4", big arm. I just think that Kevin. The thing is, they say, well, what are they gonna do? He's coming. I mean, look. Blacked out vehicles.
Hey, you know as well as I do. I mean, Brock Vandagriff, Gunnar Stockton. You may love Georgia. Arch Manning shows up. He's playing. I'm sorry. That's how it is.
Everything is all cool now. Come 2023, don't sit there. Why? That's Arch seat.
Yeah,
he ain't even. He just landed at the airport.
He's gonna get here, and he's Arch Manning. I mean, hate to say, but Arch Manning doesn't come to sit. Probably not how it's going to go. We got more to come. We're switch gears, talking a little golf. A lot happening around golf. We'll chat with Rich Stiles, the Back Nine Boys Golf Show, next here on 3 and Out. Good to have you back here, 3 and Out on this Tuesday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you're making us a part of your day. The world of golf is just all over the place right now. I don't know how you say it. Rich Styles joining us from the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. Is it LIV? Is it live? Is it like, what do you call this thing?
Well, I can't talk about it because I've just resigned from the PGA.
But Rich, you and I were talking about this earlier. I didn't even know like that was a thing, like you had to resign in order to go do this.
I think that you really don't. I mean, I think they're doing it to maybe have the opportunity to come back. I don't know, but I've never heard such a thing. I was surprised when I saw that Kevin Na resigned, that DJ resigned. I just think they're trying to put separation between themselves and the money decision that they made to go to the LIV Tour.
And Rich, obviously, they were getting grilled today about their decision to go with some of the things that the Saudis have done versus the money. I know people could say, and I know people were critical of, hey, you're just taking the money. I don't think the average person understands how much extra money some of these guys are making. I'm not saying it makes it good, right, or whatever, but Dustin Johnson was guaranteed more money than Tiger Woods made playing golf.
Yep, and that was his decision. He said, I'm doing what's best for me and my family. Let's look at it. I mean, there's 8 events. There's a lot of money, and it's guaranteed. 54 holes instead of 72. There is more money than they're going to get. As I said, it's guaranteed. And, Live Golf, headed by Norman and the Saudis, is simply how much money do you want to make? And that's basically the decision. I mean, DJ, Phil, Kevin Na have given up chances to play on the Ryder Cup team, chances to play on the President's Cup team. They do, according to the USGA today, will be able to play in the U.S. Open. But what other ramifications are going to come after this? Who knows? There's still a lot to be determined. But the LIV is definitely shaking things up on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, Rich, and to that point, when you think about the LIV, I mean, giving out that type of money to people, they know they had to think in that regard to be able to get guys like DJ and Phil. But the PGA, I mean, a lot of smoke right now as far as like, this is what we're going to do, this is what they're going to do. What kind of statement does the PGA going to have to come out and do? Because they made such a big thing about it. These are about some of the biggest names in golf. What do you think PGA is going to have to do once, DJ and Phil do decide to try to get back in?
Well, I think they've already made it. They've already drawn the line on the sand, saying that if you make the choice to play on the LIV Tour, you are no longer going to be able to play on PGA Tour events. DJ has already, as has Graham McDowell. The RBC is this week, and both of them were sponsored by RBC, one of the many sponsors they both have, and they both dissed RBC, who wished them well in their new endeavor to go play in London on the LIV Tour. So, money isn't an issue as far as RBC, but it is an issue that these guys dissed one of their major sponsors to go play on the LIV Tour, where they have a chance to make even more money.
And Rich, to me, I was in reading about some of this stuff. It seems like, I know it's a select field right now, but it would seem the PGA Tour has a problem on their hands if DJ and Phil and these guys play and there's not major blowback outside of the introductory press conference kind of that they've had. I mean, they're going to try to go after more top guys. Say, look, I don't care what you do, just play and you're going to get 90 million because it says on our card you've played 10 years on the PGA Tour and made 60 million. We'll give you 90 guaranteed right here up front. Also, Rich, I know for people who listen to your show, you talk with a lot of guys who caddy on the PGA Tour. I saw this out there. The caddies are getting airfare. They're getting hotel stay. They're getting all that paid for by the LIV Tour. So, I mean, the PGA Tour's not doing that. It would seem to me from top to bottom, this could pose a real problem.
Well, it could. And I think if you're, unlike DJ and Phil, I think if you're in that 80 to 150, 175 range on the PGA Tour as far as FedEx Cup points or money over the last, 10, 15 years, I think it's something, that they may look at because personally it's guaranteed money. It's only 54 holes. You only play 3 days. Your caddies are guaranteed, as you said, their expenses, all paid by LIV, travel, lodging, meals. They're probably still going to get a percentage of whatever the pro makes on the LIV tour. But Phil got offered $200 million. DJ got offered $100. Who knows what Graham McDowell and Ian Poulter and some of those other were offered? They said Hudson Swafford was offered $10 million, and Tiger turned down 7 figures to stay with the PGA Tour. I mean, bottom line, he doesn't need it. I mean, DJ doesn't either. Let's face it. He made $95 million on the PGA Tour. So it's not a money issue. I just think that they're looking at it of saying, okay, I've played 15 years on the PGA Tour. I've made $95 million. I could play 4 years on this tour, and I might be able to make, well, let's see, they gave me 125, plus I might be able to make another 10. I think that's a pretty easy decision to make, because if you're making it solely on money.
And Rich, look, when you talk about the backlash, we live in a world today that everything is sensationalized and right, wrong, and different. As Kevin mentioned earlier, people got to know that 2 things can be true at the same time. I can play in the LIV tournament and oppose what the Saudis are doing, but understand that, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not in the PGA to just play golf either. I'm there to make money. But if somebody's offering me $100 million, $200 million, I think 2 things can be true. I could take the money and still oppose what they're doing. But these type of opportunities are definitely once in a lifetime.
Oh, I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, they're probably even going to send them planes to fly him over and offer to fly him to all the tournaments. So, I mean, you know, they're going to save on airfare. They're going to save on a lot of their expenses. I mean, all it is just, you know, open my pocket and how much money can you put in there? And if that one gets full, let's open up the other pockets. You know, and I think the bottom line that you have to look at what these guys are sacrificing from the PGA Tour in order to play on the LIV Tour. No Ryder Cup, no President's Cup. You know, how much has Phil sacrificed in his legacy, in his PGA Tour career, in order to get more money to help him with his gambling debts, which he said has been embarrassing and overwhelming. Well, of course they are when you gamble that much money and lose that much. But, you know, the bottom line is it's all about money. And then people forget about the Saudis and the things that they have done. And, you know, you have to look at the source of where you're getting your money from. Would you take money from the mafia in order to play golf? Guaranteed. So, I mean, it's a lot of morality. It's a lot of decisions you have to make. You have to get by yourself. You have to do some, you know, thinking with your agent, your team about what's best for you and your family at this particular time. And it looks like at this time, money is definitely making that decision.
Yeah, for a lot of guys, and Rich, I was talking with Christian about this earlier, where again, things are happening on this tour that aren't happening on the PGA Tour. Guarantees for your caddies to get covered, and also you talked about the legacy of it all, Rich. I mean, yeah, there's some backlash right now. How long does that stay? We'll have to wait and see. But Dustin Johnson, Phil, they've all said, yeah, we're playing in the U.S. Open next week. So outside of the PGA Championship, unless these places say otherwise, you're still going to get to play in the U.S. Open, potentially the Open Championship, and the Masters every year, which is part of that legacy building, and not play every week on the PGA Tour. So you still get the majors potentially without even with going to this thing.
Well, right now you get the majors. I mean, whether that stands for, you know, next year, the year after, or the year after that, we don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some talk about that, you know, you have to play a certain number of events on the PGA Tour, you know, in order to keep your card. I mean, remember, it used to be 15 tournaments. So it's not like these guys are workhorses and, you know, they're working them to death in order to keep their card. The minimum they have to play is 15 events. Maybe it's 18 events. And usually they're playing 22 to 25, 26 events. So they choose to keep going based on how they're playing. And, you know, now they don't have to do that. They have 8 tournaments with an unbelievable amount of money guaranteed in each one of the tournaments. So they're making a big decision, and their legacies are going to find out, okay, this is what they did on the PGA Tour. And now they're making a decision to leave that. And I really hope that maybe they're not allowed to play in all the majors in the coming years because they left the PGA Tour, which was their avenue and their ticket to get not only to other PGA Tour events, but to those majors.
But true, but Rich, I mean, the PGA Tour doesn't have anything to do with the Masters in a roundabout way, right? That's their own tournament. The USGA runs the US Open. That's not the PGA Tour. And the Open Championship is what run by the Royal and Ancient. So, I mean, whether they've dissed the PGA Tour, I guess, kind of individual thing. I'm kind of interested to see because the USGA was kind of like, well, we had rules in place. We can't really kick them out now. So it's fine. So you're going to let them play now and nothing has changed. And you're going to, I mean, to me, that's where it's interesting because those three majors not really run by the PGA Tour.
Yeah, it's kind of like they're going to let them have their cake and eat it too. And, that's the way it stands at this point. And I think we got to wonder that the PGA Tour is looking back and having meetings with the USGA and having, they're probably not going to worry about the Masters or the Open because those are run by two separate organizations who have their own minds. But I think you might see a change in that for the coming years as far as they're being able to play in the other majors run by the USGA. And I think Mike Whan made a statement today that the Open is for people who are qualifying or who have qualified. But let's face it, you qualify for the USGA for, those championships through your performance on the PGA Tour. Whether you were a winner, whether you were a top money winner, whether you placed in U.S. Opens before. So I think there may be a change in those majors for the golfers based on what may happen between Jay Monahan and Mike Whan over the coming months and maybe year for them to get together and kind of say, look, they earned their status to play in USGA events because of their performance and their standings on the PGA Tour.
And Rich, obviously, Tiger Woods says he's out for the U.S. Open, just trying to let his body heal. Do you think this is kind of how this is going to be Tiger Woods' way of playing in tournaments moving forward? Just letting his body kind of tell him what he can and can't do, because, like he said, he's getting older, and I know Tom Brady and LeBron James got everybody thinking that Father Time is, getting the brakes beat off him by those two. Do you think this is the way Tiger Woods say, hey, if I want to play, I got to trust my body, trust my knees, because if not, it's going to be hard for me to play in tournaments moving forward?
Well, let's face it. I mean, he's played two tournaments. He's played and he's made the cut in both. And then he struggled on the weekends because his body wasn't up to par where he wanted it to be. So Tiger's got to listen to his body. I mean, he knows that he can't perform the way that he wants to, excuse me, in the way that he used to on the PGA Tour or in any championship. And he's got to be ready to perform in 4 rounds. The Open over at St. Andrews is more level ground. He doesn't have to go up and down as much. Of course, that depends on where he hits it. But the fact of the matter is that Tiger did not need to force his body to play the U.S. Open. And it shows that the Open in St. Andrews is now more important to him because he thinks if he waits a little longer, his body will be even in better shape.
Rich Stiles, host of the Back Nine Boys Golf Show, our guest here on 3 and Out. Rich, appreciate the time. Thanks so much.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Rich Stiles joining us here. It is 3 and Out on the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. That was good stuff. Who's that?
New York's NIL bill has recently passed both chambers and is moving towards enactment, as noted by Darren Heitner and at Winter Sports Law and other legal experts. It's odd that states are looking to pass new NIL laws at this point. So why is this happening in the Empire State? Man, they're just getting ahead of stuff. They don't give a F. It's the illusion that you're actually doing something. Because it's like law enforcement. If I'm the one that put laws into place, I'm not the ones that have to make sure it's upheld. The law enforcement has to do it. Hey man, how do we? How many police officers don't know the law? Because they usually dealing with the same stuff. Hey, sir, you can't come to this building. You can't come to this building filming. Why? It's a government building. This is also what? A public building. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And people have their privacy in public. Think about what you just said. They got privacy in public. How? What? A bathroom? That's about it. And that's in an individual stall. That's not even when you first walk in. Why? Because you're in public, Mitch. People go, is that what the public means? Yes. That means outside of your home. And in Virginia, if you're at your home, if you're in your home with the blinds up and you and your lady, I don't know, are doing that thing and somebody sees you, you can go to jail. I thought y'all was doing that. Uh-huh. Whoop, whoop. Come on outside. What was y'all doing yesterday? I don't know. Being ourselves. You have the right to remain silent. Shut your mouth. Let's go, Pam. That dude, Matt Walsh, or whatever his name, that got that shit. What is a woman? God, that stuff is. I mean, he said, look, I'm just asking questions, but I am not coming up here like I'm an expert. I'm just asking. Sex and gender is different. Sex and gender identity. So, I'm a man by sex, yeah, but I can identify as a 75-year-old white woman that likes cats. Yeah, that's what I am. Yeah. So I want you to call me Mrs. Buttersworth. There's no way people are gonna be able to keep up with that.
Good to have you back here. 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop. Thanks for being with us here on this Tuesday. Braves and A's coming up later tonight. We'll have it for you at 6:05. Matt Olson against his former team. Braves riding a 5-game win streak. We'll talk all about that and more coming up in the final hour of the show. It is 3 and Out. Hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio. We stream live as well, ESPN Coastal.com, and you can live video stream us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. Go to ESPN Coastal on YouTube and get our live YouTube feed there as well. Hour 3 coming up next. Good to have you back here, 3 and Out on this Tuesday. Kevin Thomas, Ben Troop, glad you're making us a part of your day. Streaming live, ESPNCoastal.com on your mobile device with the ESPN app. You can hit us up on Twitter at Pigskin Radio, Also live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We encourage you to check out our YouTube channel, ESPN Coastal, there on YouTube. You can follow along the show there each and every day. Braves and A's coming up later tonight. Matt Olson going up against his former team, Ben Troop. We'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. But our good friend AC on the phone, that dude, he talks fast. Let's see what he's got to say. AC, welcome to the show. What's happening?
Thank you so much for taking my call. How you guys doing? Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Well, my brother PJ, sometimes you got to slow it down. Trust me. I've been on the radio, 10 different radio stations for the last 4 years. Only thing I learned is how to be patient. Trust me, brother, I have patience. You don't have to apologize to AC. Los Angeles, hey, you got to have patience. If you don't have patience, what are the odds you can get on live radio show? I have the experience. I'm speaking from my experience. But I don't want to waste my time. I want to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers, if I were you, I would that Russell Westbrook situation, because if something doesn't work out by the midseason trade, it's time to get rid of Russell Westbrook. Either number 6, and LeBron James wants to win championship number 5. I don't know if it's going to work with Russell Westbrook. As far as Anthony Davis is concerned, he's always injured, so he better find a reliable big man who can help him out. Let's face it, Anthony Davis, he's out, like half of the season, played 3/4 of the season. That's not going to win you a championship. And Darvin Ham, I'm so sorry for you. Most likely you're going to get yourself fired. You don't know what you took, dude. Probably should have took the Charlotte Hornets job. It would have been a little less stressful compared to coaching a guy like LeBron James. It comes with high expectation. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Hey, appreciate it, AC. Thank you so much. He calls every day. AC, I appreciate patience. Maybe you feel impatient because you're like chugging 6 cups of coffee before you call the show.
AC be like, listen, I'm going to make sure I get this question, but I will say this. Do I agree with AC that, AD can't play half the season? Yes. Do I agree with AC that, a guy like Russell Westbrook is not going to win it? Nope. I think you get on the phone with Chicago, you tell Levine, you come on out here to the ATL, you call over to Phoenix, you tell DeAndre Ayton, you come on over here to LA because LeBron wants to get number 5 so that he can at least say he tied the great Kobe Bryant. But AC goes, listen, tomorrow AC going to be talking to us about hockey, probably going to be the Rangers, but I am here for it all every single day. Yep. AC, appreciate you being a dedicated listener, sir.
Yes.
Get what's on your mind off your mind.
Absolutely. Again, you don't have to try to beat Jimbo Fisher in a words per second contest because AC, you are rocking and rolling.
AC me today. He going to say, my name's AC. I don't need but 30 seconds. I'm finna talk to everybody in the room. What? I don't need but 30 seconds. I'm finna talk to every last coach in the room. Sorry with you, Brian Kelly. You can't dance. Next. I love it, though.
No, I know it's fun. No, it's fun. No, and again, I don't know that LeBron's winning another one. I mean,
he might not.
We like to.
He's only won on every team he's been on, but at the end of the day, Kevin, he's a billionaire.
Well, at some point,
he want to play.
You are getting up there to 4-0, right?
LeBron said, "I'm never ever not going to the playoffs again." Like he ain't going in the year 20.
That's what I'm saying. But even Kobe slowed down at the last year. Kobe was like, "I can't elevate." Well, dude, you've been playing basketball since you were 14.
Kevin, I am going to forward you. I saw on Twitter yesterday they were showing LeBron, when he was just jumping out the gym. It's like he's just hanging in there. He's just sitting there. LeBron. Tom Brady is going in the year 23.
Right.
He's never gonna leave. Got the baddest kids on the planet. LeBron James is going to year 20. Here's the thing, though, Kevin. The question of, do you walk away because it's time, or do you walk away because you're not good anymore? Well, who's better than Tom? Listen. I got to say this too, Kevin, because shout out to Ryan Clark, right? Ryan Clark, LSU, Super Bowl champion with Pittsburgh, Pro Bowl,
right?
Said yesterday, I'm finna go. He said, talent-wise now, that Chris Brown is more talented than Michael Jackson. Now, this got everybody. Now, this is what he said. He tried to, shout out to the homie Ryan Clark. He tried to clarify. He said, look,
talented is a weird word.
It is. Now. This is the thing. He said Tom Brady is the GOAT. But he's not more talented than Aaron Rodgers throws the ball better than him, but he's
Okay.
but obviously. But this is
I
the
can
thing.
hear that. No, yeah.
This is the thing, right?
No, seriously, no, because people say this all the time. I will hear every argument if you're going to say Tom Brady is not the best quarterback.
Yeah.
From a straight quarterback.
But it's the thing, right? This is the thing. Everybody has moments, right? Aaron Rodgers is incredible. Aaron Rodgers is an incredible thrower of football, right? But this is the thing. When he first, there are certain statements you got to clarify yourself, right? Like, hey, Ben, I like non-traditional wings. What the hell you mean, sir? Like, that's not a real thing.
Yeah.
No. Now, this is what I would say. Talent-wise, it's hard to be more talented. I mean, it's hard for most people to be more talented than Chris Brown. He can sing, he can dance, music, perform, boom. But this is the difference. Impact can't be greater than Mike. Influence can't be greater than Mike, right? And just gifts. Michael Jackson was gifted. Michael Jackson had more people passing out at his concerts than I've ever seen, right? But this is the thing. This is what it really is.
I'm sorry. I don't. Go ahead. I don't understand. I understand being nervous. I don't know about passing out.
Yeah, but this is the thing.
Like there's people, the Beatles. Oh my God, there's John Paul, George, and Ringo. I'm out.
This is the thing, right? This is why. But the thing about Chris Brown is we never thought we would see anything even remotely close to Mike. Nothing. Chris Brown is about as close you're gonna get. But this is what I will say, and people can get mad. You know who is more talented than Michael Jackson? And I don't care what nobody says. Prince. Prince is more talented than Mike because, Kevin, what is harder to do? What is the hardest thing to do if you're a performer? Sing and dance or sing, dance, and play an instrument? Prince can do all three, right? I know Twitter to light me up. But I'm just saying now, I ain't never seen nothing like Prince. Prince is really playing, singing, dancing. Now his ensembles is a little questionable. The clothes he used to want to wear, but it's like when we get to talking about talented and gifted and all this other type of stuff, there's a difference in gifts and talents. I'm gonna tell you why. This is a talented player. Talented. I'm gonna just use a receiver. Talented receiver, right? Deebo Samuels is talented. Calvin Johnson is gifted. There's a difference, right? Okay. Cooper Kupp is talented, man. That dude is talented. Randy Moss was gifted. There is a difference. People say, well, what's the difference? Talented, gifted players can do what talented players can do. Talented players cannot do what gifted players can do. You don't believe me? Calvin Johnson set the record in 16 games and did not go to the playoffs for most receiving yards, right? Cooper Kupp had the second best. What do you think Calvin Johnson would have done in the playoffs? You don't think he would have ripped it up? I think so.
Well, he played for Detroit. So,
well, he did. I mean, Barry Sanders.
Detroit has, one playoff win in 20 years, 30 years?
And when they won, the fans like, we got to come back next week. They won? No,
we're not used to being here in January.
No, Kevin. Like Kevin, in baseball. Right? I think not Mike Trout. What's his name? I'm losing his name. Freaking play for the Phillies now.
Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper is talented. Super duper talented. I think Ronald Queen Jr. is gifted. Doesn't mean that Bryce Harper ain't that dude. But Kevin, you can explain this to me. Have you ever Mike Trout do what he want to do, just different stratosphere. Crazy. Gifted, talented.
Shohei Ohtani, gifted.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Because so I think what Ryan Clark was trying to say is Chris Brown, more talented, Michael Jackson, more gifted. Because when you just say Chris Brown, more talented, Michael Jackson, you're gonna have to explain what you mean. Because I ain't never been to a Chris Brown concert. I guarantee you I ain't passing out. But when I was a kid,
you would have passed out if you saw Michael Jackson? If he came up and
I don't think I would have passed out. But think about this, Kevin. If you somewhere,
would you have passed out if Dave Justice would have actually stopped and given you that autograph?
I mean, I would have felt a little better about myself. Just run up to the car.
Instead, he was like, I got a dip.
Is there a person out there for you that if you saw him, you'd be like, yes?
I don't know. Like, there's been people that and I guess the longer I've done this, it goes away a little bit. There's been people I've been, quote, nervous around.
Because you don't want to moment.
Right. Like the first time I went to spring training, I'm like, dude, there's Bobby Cox sitting right there.
Yeah.
Like that's a little surreal, but I don't know that if he would have like initiated a conversation with me, I would have passed out. I'd have been like, I don't understand what's going on right now. But you know, that was a surreal moment. I would have been nervous, but I don't think I've ever like you see all these pictures like when the Beatles came to America and like girls are passing out, falling out on the floor. I don't understand that. Like I've never done that. Like
it's what is the thing, right? This is the thing. Like there are people out there like, okay, who have I met, man?
Like Drake touched my finger, I'm out.
I go to a golf tournament one time in Florida. I was with the Bucks, and I get there. I didn't go to off-season lifting that day. I'm just show up to the tournament.
Like you got to be worked up to pass out.
And there go Warren Sapp right there. That's Warren Sapp. He's sitting there, and I said, because I don't know what to say. I'm like, hey, what's up, Mr. Sapp? He says, he's like, tight end for Florida. I was like, yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, because in a sense, you really don't know what to say. Like, I will say this. If you've never, most of the time, this is what it really is. We don't think we're gonna meet, quote, people we just grew up going crazy over. And then I was in an elevator one time, right? With John Smokes and his wife. Now, mind you, but it caught me off guard because I get on the elevator. I'm like, yeah, I said, oh, I'm going like this. Like trying not to stare, right? But Kevin, all right, you jump on there and there go Randy Johnson. There go A-Rod. There go,
right.
There go Ken Griffin. You're like, oh, my fault, fellas. And you like this. And then Ken Griffin goes, what floor? Whatever floor y'all going to. What? Just wherever y'all going. Because, like there go Michael Jordan. Like Michael Jordan comes through, they'll say, sorry, fellas, I'm lost. What?
Hey, come in, sit down.
I'm just saying, like, if you do get a chance to meet somebody like that, you're not gonna pass out. But I'm trying
to think in my mind like who I would get like super worked up to meet that I would probably like. I mean, passing out is one thing because like you see people like he touched my hand, I passed out. Like I don't know if there's somebody like that. Now, would I be like acting stupid and nervous? Maybe if I, like you said, in a random chance encounter, it was like Tiger Woods comes walking up. I'd probably be like, yeah, you're Tiger Woods. Yes, I am. Can you tell me? I don't know direction.
I can't.
And then obviously, of course, if Bo Jackson walked in the studio, I'd be like, I'm just saying.
Okay.
If Bo walked in, the radio show would be over because I'd be like,
okay, here it is. I mean,
you want to talk about goats?
I'm not getting political at all.
No, Bo is the GOAT.
When we sitting here doing something, what I'm saying, all of a sudden, like, boom, like, what are you doing? It's Barack Obama.
Well, I mean,
like, what?
I mean, I'll be honest. If any president walked in the room, I'd be like, what are you doing in the studio?
Listen, and then you get ready to hide, and then the singer go, whoa, don't people.
I mean, to be fair, we'd probably have some warning because like 4 guys with suits would come walking in first and be like,
I'm just saying, listen, I hope that everybody gets a chance to meet.
Like, hey, we need to use your bathroom.
No, like LeBron, he walks into the pizza joint that he owns. I'm not gonna give him no pub, but he knows what it is. And he comes back. Listen. Obviously, he's like 6'9", and he comes out with the pizza boxes, and people just looking like this. What's up, man? What's up? It's like, hey, man. At the end of the day, I just think that we get a chance to Ryan. If you listen, Ryan Clark. I can say it. You are more famous now away from football than you ever was. Why? Because you went viral yesterday.
I mean, that's a tough take when you're going to try to say somebody's better than Michael Jackson. That's a hard take.
It is
in any respect of music. Like you got to come with some receipts. I'm afraid. Like you can't just be like, oh no.
Hold on. If you just randomly heard a conversation, somebody goes, no man, Chris Brown is more talented than Michael Jackson. You go,
like I mean, in our like I said, just like in our lifetime, who. And you can't, I mean, I guess I could say the Beatles, but I wasn't alive when they were in their heyday. Elvis, maybe, but like Michael Jackson was like worldwide, people lost their minds.
Yes, global icon.
Over Michael, yeah, global icon. Like people talk about, man, I can't go here without people recognizing it. That guy could go nowhere. How we got this has been a wild show. We're talking about who's better than Michael Jackson. Tom Hanks doesn't make anything but great.
No, I will say that I learned this week that Kevin is a Tom Hanks like supporter, and no slander is allowed.
That's fine. I'm just saying Tom Hanks doesn't make bad movies.
He don't.
Now you may not, and I can't speak for the ones that I haven't seen. I apologize, Kristen, if I haven't seen all 93 of them. But I mean,
Woo!
of the ones that I have watched, which are quite a few, there's not a bad one. Right? Now, there's a few that I haven't seen, and I even offered up. I said, he's like, well, it got a 5.2 on IMDb. Okay, I haven't seen it. But the ones that I have seen, all huge, all amazing, steals the show. That's all I'm saying. Even Tom Cruise made The Last Samurai. Awful movie. You know what I mean? We talked about that. Denzel, amazing actor. He's had a few where you're going, really?
Oh yeah, so
Maybe should have held out for a second.
I mean, out of time.
I mean, I kind of took
know,
offense, Christian hating on Equalizer too, but I mean, that's
well,
okay.
I mean, listen, Equalizer is nice. I mean,
I actually thought two was better than one, but that's me.
He says, and you better give me a nice what they say you got to give and you better give me a nice survey, Junior. Beat the brakes off of him. Boom. He said that did.
Yeah, Equalizer 2, he comes up off the Uber, it's like,
Boom.
we'll make it happen. I don't know what we're doing
Hey,
now.
man,
We'll come back. We got more to come here. It's 3 and Out on this Tuesday, all across the Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Oh man, it's 3 and Out. It feels like a Friday on the show because
It's one of them days.
Ben and I are
Get it on out.
there you go. We got Braves and A's coming up a little bit later tonight as Matt Olson goes up against his former team. But we got somebody who wanted to weigh in here on the show. Let's go to Rob. Rob's listening here on 3 and Out. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey, we're doing good.
Hey, y'all were chopping it up pretty good there before the commercial break. So I just wanted to make a couple of comments on each one. Ben makes a really good point about talented versus gifted. And, like I would say, like, if you're talking about athletes, and one of the most popular things, especially generationally, is like Michael Jordan versus LeBron. And I would say that LeBron is probably, if not the most physically gifted athlete we've seen hit the basketball court, then he's got to be right there. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's 6'8", 6'9", 270 pounds, as, when it comes to talent, point guard skills, okay, but could also post up any of today's centers or power forwards and overpower a lot of them, but can also run past them, jump higher than them, all that. I would say he is more physically talented and gifted per se than Michael Jordan was, but that doesn't make him better, because Michael Jordan's gift was his will. I mean, this guy had to lift weights and everything to get past the bad boys Pistons. They beat him up, but he had a will second to none, and it's different if you're comparing like Chris Brown to Michael Jackson. Okay, what are you comparing then? Are you talking about singing and dancing? Because they both did it, right? So are you saying that Chris Brown's dance moves are better than Michael Jackson's? Because Michael Jackson's dance moves revolutionized things. And if you're going to make that comparison, then you got to say that Chris Brown, I mean, at most he took it to another level, but what's it based off of?
No, but I'm all for it. Let's not compare Michael Jackson to anybody.
No.
That's my take.
Rob, what Ryan Clark, I'm throwing him out there. He just made that statement, like he made a blanket statement without like clarifying. So he said Chris Brown is more talented than Michael Jackson, and I said, well, you got to break that down, because the thing about Michael Jackson did not have social media, so every last one of his fans were really fans. He didn't care about likes or retweets or going viral. But if Michael Jackson were alive right now, his global impact was already cemented well before. I just was saying, because I never thought I would see anything to even put in the same sentence as Mike and Chris Brown. I mean, off the field, away from the stage stuff aside, this dude, he can do anything. I think he can do anything musically as far as like choreography. But I just said talent-wise, it's Chris, but gift-wise, because I believe people who are gifted are both talented and influential. I just think that nobody's greater than Mike.
Oh, yeah. No, I would agree. As far as Tom Hanks, I think he's a prolific actor. I kind of laughed. You're like, hey, he doesn't make a bad movie. Okay. So that's not just his talent. That's the talent of his agent. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at Samuel L. Jackson. This dude has probably been in more movies and grossed more money than any actor, and some of those movies have been terrible. Jackson did not care. And I think Tom Hanks is like, not only is his agent talented, but he's in tune with his agent, because I bet you if you look back and you see a number of the movies that he's been in, he did more than just act. He also produced, which means you have more control. Samuel L. Jackson is like, I'm showing up, I'm Samuel L. The movie might be terrible, it might not. F-bomb this, F-bomb that, I'm still Sam.
hey, no, I understand. Bob, I appreciate the phone call.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it. Yeah, no, look, I agree. Tom's got the control. I wasn't even saying it from a talented gifted standpoint. I just go back to he doesn't make a bad movie.
Kevin, you know what
of course, you're trying to come at me with the money pit.
No, Rob, and we do appreciate the call. No, this is what we just did. The spirit of BJ Bennett is among us.
It is.
You
really
know why?
is.
Because
it really is.
Gifted and talented is your version of greatest and best.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
no,
is.
It's not.
Because Tom Hanks, if we are doing, greatest actors in our generation, Tom Hanks is in the top 10. He has to be because he don't make bad movies. He got you rooting for volleyballs. He's shown
Yep.
range. And he's 93 movies in and still going strong.
And Samuel Jackson is good, though.
Oh, Samuel
Jules
Jackson.
and Pulp
Snakes on
Fiction.
the no,
I didn't see snakes on the plane.
Coach,
I was just like,
listen, Coach Carter,
Yep.
you owe me 2,500 sit-ups, 2,000 push-ups. What? You said that with a straight face? You know you said that with No, I would Samuel L. Jackson is they
A Time to Kill.
Oh my goodness. Yes. At the end of the day, look, the first movie I ever seen Samuel L. Jackson in was what? Coming to America, robbing the McDowell's. What? Hey, buddy.
I mean, it's
listen to me. I'll be forced to thrash you. What? Hey, at the end of the day, this is what we're really showing right now. Rob included. We are all in the weirdo club.
Sure.
Me, Kevin, Rob. You know what? Rob says, I'm going to comment on all of it.
Might as
Starting
well.
with Michael. Listen, he said, Rob went from Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, LeBron. He went from two MJs, both Mike Jack and Mike Jordan. And he went to Tom Hanks. And he said Samuel Jackson terrible. Rob, keep doing what you're doing, sir. We appreciate the listens. We appreciate the loyalty. But most importantly, we appreciate the weirdness. Because that's what we are.
Absolutely.
So all the ladies out there listening going, y'all really get, yes. I didn't know that Kevin Thomas, one, didn't like bowl games until he got his own bowl game. And you will not say nothing about Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, Joe versus the Volcano. Great movie. I'm telling you.
Apollo 13.
Again, Christian is like, you're saying he never makes a bad movie. I'm saying I've yet to come across one that was terrible. And so he starts going way back. I'm like, I'm sorry, I haven't seen that.
Tom Cruise definitely got something. He was reaching. It was bad. We got some bad movies.
But he's got a lot of good ones too. What was the movie where he's the is that with him and Jamie Foxx where Tom Cruise tells him to wait in the cab and the guy comes is that the Law-Abiding Citizen?
No. Law-Abiding Citizen with the guy from 300. But I know what you're talking about. Because Jada Pinkett was in the movie. It was crazy.
Like Tom Cruise tells Jamie Foxx, wait here. He goes up and throws the guy out the window.
Tom Cruise. That was really, really good.
Anyway.
Interview with the Vampire.
That's a little too weird. We'll come back. I can't. It's 3 and Out. We will talk sports, I promise, next. Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you back here, 3 and Out on this Tuesday. We've got Braves and A's coming up for you a little bit later tonight. Kyle Wright against Cole Irvin and Matt Olson against his former team. So we'll have that for you coming up in just a little bit. But I want to ask you about this because a lot of debate, discussion about Phil and Dustin Johnson, the guys going to play for this LIV tour, the Live Tour, I don't know, whatever they want to call it. I've heard it pronounced 4 different ways. The Live Tour run by the Saudis. And they were pressed on it. I'll tell you, they had an opening press conference. Actually, the media handlers kind of ushered certain guys out and said, hey, we'll move it along. You're not, I think they said the journalists were not being respectful when they asked about, the Saudi government and some of the things they did, and that's who was paying their salaries. And just, as I said, I when we talked to Rich, I said, look, I think the PGA Tour has got an issue because if there is no blowback towards a lot of these guys for who the money's coming from, then I think PGA Tour is going to be in trouble because you got guys paying caddies. They're paying caddies full freight. Golfers are making more. And people are saying, oh, it's just a money grab. Well, I mean, of course it is. Aren't most things in society a money grab? And people say, yeah, but where are you getting the money from? I mean, and again, I think that's a line everybody's got to draw in the sand at some point. But a lot of companies do a lot of things that we would probably find egregious. A lot of owners of things do things that we find egregious. And we have to figure out a way to either justify it or not do business with them. I know the Saudis had done some things. I think the American journalist was killed by Saudis. Others will, and people were pressing them on it. Hey, what do you think? And they're like, hey, look, I'm doing what's best for my family. I don't agree with what they do, but I'm going to take the money. And people say, how could you take the money? And Ben, this is where I think it gets interesting. And I had a debate with somebody. I was like, look, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong or what have you, but everybody's got a number. If you're listening, you say, well, I would never take the money. Mm-hmm. Has anybody plopped $100 million in front of your face and said, it's guaranteed you will get it? Let's say you work a job. You make $50,000 a year, right? So you make $100,000 every 2 years, which means in a decade, you'd make $500,000. So they said, hey, Joe or John or whoever we're talking to, I'll give you $1 million. So I will give you more in 1 year than you've made in the last decade. You're not going to have a moment of pause about taking it at all? And again, Ben, I think that's where, people struggle and say, Dustin Johnson, you're just doing, and this is one thing that I think I heard Christian say, Dustin Johnson's made $90 million on the PGA Tour, played 14 years. He's married to Paulina Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky's daughter. She's got money. She's a model. He plays professional golf. Okay, Dustin Johnson played a decade and a half, made $90 million. They're giving him $100. They're giving him more than he's made in 15 years. I just think, again, this is where if I'm the PGA Tour, I'd be concerned because they're giving guys more than they've made in a decade out on tour, and it's guaranteed. You don't have to go and perform for it like you do on the PGA Tour. And to me, I think that's the back and forth guys are saying. And people are like, oh, please, you're doing it for your family. Isn't that what everybody else says when we sign? I didn't see the full quotes, but I'm sure Aaron Donald said, I took the $60 million extension so I could do what's best for my family, right? I mean, we don't say when, and again, NBA guys sign that. I know NBA has some relationships with China that people don't like what China does. Are we getting on the NBA guys for signing their deals and where the money comes from and where? So look, I think it's a tough spot to be in for these guys. They're being offered, even for them, Ben, generational money to go play on this tour. You're getting $100 million to play a third as much or half as much. Mm-hmm. I think this is going to be an issue. Do you weigh the stuff you disagree with versus when you really say, I'm doing it to help my family? They're giving you more money than you've made your entire career. Dustin Johnson got more money than Tiger Woods has made on the course in his entire career. Now, I didn't say sponsors, but Dustin Johnson got $125 million. Tiger Woods has made $121 playing golf. How long has Tiger Woods been playing golf?
What, 20 years?
A minute.
20, yes.
And so they're going to give him more than that to come play for a couple of years on this LIV tour. And people are like, well, you don't get to do the Ryder Cup. I mean, I guess they still get to play the majors this go around. And who knows if that'll go away, but still, Ben, kind of your thoughts there when you look at the backlash, because again, Phil got backlash for saying he was wanting to go do it. And then he came back and they said, well, we're going to punish you kind of quietly for going to do that. And then ended up pushing him towards $200 million guaranteed. And he's over there anyway.
I'm going to say this. For everybody, you know how easy it is to say what you wouldn't do when you know, number one, you're not going to be in that position and you watching somebody else. I said this early in the show. Two things can be true at the same time. I can get generational wealth from my family and still not like what they're doing over there to the citizens. So let me get this straight. There are a lot of companies that we support that if we understand some of the practices that they do, we still buying their stuff. This is what this really is about. People start talking about it's a morality thing, it's a character thing, it's all these different things. All right, you're right. Yeah. And guess what? Yeah, this too will blow over. Right now, this is the current 72-hour, stream of consciousness.
But that's what I work, and that's what I'm saying. If I'm the PGA Tour, we have short like once this tournament gets played this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's happened. They're taking the money. Like, if it kind of becomes less a part of the news cycle, I know somebody said, well, you won't get seen. You won't be on TV like you are. I mean, so? Right? I mean, I think that's one of those things where if you're getting guaranteed, I mean, look, if you go to Aaron Donald and you say, we're going to give you 2 years, $60 million, but the Rams won't be on TV. Do you think he cares? Am I right?
Yep.
Hey, Ben, I want to give you $100 million fully guaranteed contract, but while you play for the Titans, you're not going to be seen on TV. Is that a sticking point? I mean, is that, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like,
but this is what this really is about. To those of us who are old enough to have families, responsibilities, people to take care of. Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, they got into sports, pro sports, to get paid to do it. Now it's, hey man, where you get your money from? Now, once again, I can about guarantee you, right? They're not saying, look, I don't like what's going on. I'm going to make more money in a very, very short amount of time than I made in my entire career. I don't want to play golf forever. No, the only thing people want to do forever is live comfortably. So to the people out there who have something to say about it, all right, then don't do it. But I always say this. You don't know what you would do in situations. You don't know. Isn't it ironic that you wanted the big house when you ain't got the money? Now that you got the money, well, it don't look it don't look the same. You don't got to like Phil Mickelson for what he did and said to put him in this situation. You don't got to like Dustin Johnson. If you wasn't a fan before, you're not going to be a fan now. But guess what? If you didn't do it, you're going to go to the family reunion. Y'all going to be sitting around. It's the elephant in the room. And finally they get to you. Hey, Kevin, yeah, why didn't you take the money? Man, I just didn't feel good about it. You didn't feel good about what? About what they did. Okay. Did you approve of what they was doing to the citizens? No. Do you approve of some of the protocols and laws and procedures? No. So you could have went over there and got the money and not, yeah. Wasn't they paying for your airfare? Yep, mine and my caddies. Wasn't they paying for your hotel accommodations? Yep. All things paid for it, and they're paying me. And it didn't matter how you finish. Yeah, Kevin, what? Listen to me. There's this thing called a free lunch sometimes. You should eat that food because I'm going to say this to people, and I mean this. As a person that's in the media, thank God for it every day. It's an incredible blessing to be a part of it. If you are living your life based off a take that I made, you need to rethink your priorities. You really need to rethink them. Dustin Johnson sat down with Mrs. Johnson and said, it went like this. Hello? Man, don't play with me, man. Seriously? Hold on, I'll call you right back. 100 mil.
125 mil.
125 million.
I got to play 8 weeks.
8 weeks. listen. Hold on, listen. 8 weeks. 125 million. I don't know what that breaks down per second or per swing. But hey man, Dustin Johnson lost a lot of sponsorships. Yeah, he got a new sponsorship. It's called Cha-Ching. Like y'all like, and once again, Kevin, like I get it. Listen, if your morals and your person won't allow you, I am not fretting. But everything has a number, everything has a price, and just because you don't, everything does. And for people, and all I'm saying is for the people that are saying something about Dustin Johnson filmmaker, this too shall pass. Right? This too shall pass. So, Dustin, Kevin, what I mean, think about that. What type of feeling is that? They're gonna give me what? 125 million. They know,
Yeah.
and look, listen, and I don't know. I just think that too often at times. Look, I respect you either way, right? I respect you either way. But man, oh man, I'll just with 125 million, I can afford a damage control department. I guarantee you that.
I'm just interested to see how it progresses, if there is blowback for those guys beyond, as you said, the initial questions, like, are they going to continue to be asked about it every time they play? Are they going to be allowed to play the majors? If not, if there's not a lot of blowback that sustains with this thing, I could see other guys saying, well, I could go over there and make more than I'm going to make having to go out and earn it, in golf, where you have to go out. If you don't make the cut, you get zero. There, it's like, well, we're playing one less day, and we're going to guarantee you money. Going to be, again, I just want to be interested to see how it falls, because I do think if there isn't a lot of blowback, because Phil was pushed back, he was pushed back to coming towards the PGA Tour, and then 3 weeks later, a month or two later, he's right back over there with $200 million coming into his pocket. Very interesting to see how this all plays out with that. And if there isn't a lot of blowback, I think the PGA Tour has got real problems, because you got a competing tour handing out guaranteed money, paying for caddies, all the things that the PGA Tour is not doing, and they are going above and beyond what guys are making on the PGA Tour. We've got more to come. Braves and A's coming up in just a little bit. We'll lead you up to that next. It's 3 and Out, Southern Pigskin Radio Network. Good to have you along here, 3 and Out on this Tuesday. Braves in Oakland, 2-gamer coming up here Tuesday and Wednesday before the Braves get set for the Pirates coming up this weekend. You get Matt Olson against his former team, and the fans out there in Oakland kind of revolting. I think they've drawn like less than 3,000 several times here, Ben. But this is in Atlanta, so Kyle right back. But, you know, Matt Olson, we talked about the pressure coming in to try to fill in the shoes of Freddie Freeman. I think he's done that. Now a chance to kind of stick it to his former team. And again, in that trade, Christian Pache, I guess we'll get to see him in this series. I don't know, but he, at last check, he was still with the team, but had the worst batting average in the major leagues among eligible players. So
Christian Pache get to see the guy that his replacement, right? Matt Olson get to say, he get to look at Oakland and say, hey man, thanks for the money.
yeah.
But it's time for me to no. Look, at the end of the day, stick to your winning race, Kevin. Listen, what, 5 in a row now?
5 in a row.
Can that go to 6 in a row, 7 in a row?
Maybe.
Matt Olson, don't be trying to do too much. You better not be trying to slide in the second. Do what you normally do. Waste not as high as they won Freddie Freeman, but they try to get a big dub and I start with them Oakland A's.
You do hate on Freddie about the highways.
No. I miss Mr. Highways. Deodorant on his pants. Used to love Freddie Freeman, man. I just know that at the end of the day, I'm gonna get the deodorant off your pants, man.
Did you say
deodorant on his pants. Pull your pants down. How's it happen when you got the highways?
Oh, I've never heard that.
Oh man, listen. I played sports my whole life. You know, boy, you don't listen, boy. Listen. If your pants too short, hey, listen, man. Listen. Go pull your shoes up. Why? Or either pull your pants down. No, that's what.
What if you're just a high-waisted person in
that's
general?
What you say about Noam Chow. Noam Chow had that big old high waist. I said, boy, if you don't get that deodorant off your pants, what you mean? Well, pull your pants down, man. Well, you take life real serious with your waist that high. You got the shortest torso on the planet.
What did he say to that?
Listen, he didn't know what to say to us. I was like, listen, man. I said, you might want to get some spray deodorant. Why? Because you're sweating a little bit on your arms. Why? Because you got sweat on your pants. That's how high the pants are. But no, man, Matt Olson, you know, somebody, hey, listen, go out there and get a dub. I think, Kevin, could it be the start, Kevin, of putting some pressure on them pesky Mets by making sure, hey, man, they back in the rear view. The Mets can see them now, but control what you can control.
Yeah, interesting. I hope they get it done tonight again. Kyle Wright, 5-2, 2.41 ERA, really pitching well. You're coming off a series in Colorado where it's hard to get a sweep in Colorado, and I heard Brian Snicker say, I don't know if we've ever had a sweep in Colorado going out there, much less a 4-game sweep. So the Braves riding a lot of momentum. I know they're 9 games back. The Mets won last night while the Braves were off. So 9 games back. It'd be nice to keep it going against the A's and, you know, try to chip into that lead a little bit. Keep doing what they're doing, Ben, and they will chip away, I believe, at that lead a little bit. The Mets have continued to play well despite missing 2 very big pieces of their starting rotation. So maybe that will turn at some point. Got to keep winning in the interim. And again, you're still in this stretch where you're playing very bad teams. A's, Pirates. I think you got another one with the Nationals coming up towards the end of this little run. So you've got some opportunities to continue putting it together and winning a lot of big ball games. Hopefully they'll do it. 6:05 coming up in about 7 minutes. We'll have Braves and A's for you next couple of nights. Appreciate Blaine Gilmer joining us, UGAsports.com. Filling us in on Arch Manning and his trip to Athens, and Rich Styles of the Back Nine Boys. Join us if you missed any of that, ESPNCoastal.com, or go to our YouTube page at ESPN Coastal. They're on YouTube, and you can get the podcasted version of the show. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 and Out.